Hello and welcome back to another episode of CharlaFootball. I'm your host as always, Harold Jerry Tavares, accompanied by Tomas today. No Jonathan, he is at work. We're still trying to work on trying to get him full time, but thank you, Tomas, for hopping on. Make sure you follow us at our links right there. We upgraded our CharlaFootball page and everything, so put our links to our Instagrams just like right here, so you guys can check that out. Make sure to follow the page as well at CharlaFootball on all social medias. But first and foremost, Tomas, how are you doing today? I know the Euro started today, so we're going to talk about that, of course.
Doing great. I was watching the girls at Wingstop, and it was a good experience.
Now, speaking about the Euros, so today we're going to talk about the first game, the opening match between Germany and Scotland, and then we're going to give our takes on the rest of the tournament. So, looking at the favorites, our disappointments, and our dark horses as well, and then a few other questions that we have. But first and foremost, let's get into the Germany-Scotland game because it just ended about like an hour and a half ago. And I mean, what a match. I mean, there's a reason why Germany are one of the favorites, considered to be the favorites by everybody in the media right now. And I mean, they have a young, fresh squad. And I mean, you saw what they did today to Scotland. They completely just picked them apart. I feel bad for them because I feel like the Scottish people had a little bit of hope coming in. I mean, I heard there was like 200,000 Scottish people pulling up to Munich just for this game alone, and then for the group stage matches, and then for it to go down like that, you just got to feel for them, bro.
Yeah, I actually seen like a Twitter post where it was the Scottish dad. He like pulled his kid out of school early. I think it was like yesterday
Yeah, I heard about that.
in Germany, and saying that he was going to teach him some things that were meant to be taught.
No, yeah, you got to feel for them, bro. Like I said, I mean, it's I mean, I know the Scottish people, they're very passionate, and I mean, we've kind of experienced that a little bit. I mean, I'm sure we ran into some Scottish people over there in London, and then, working with Dundee and some of the clubs out there. They're loving people. They're definitely very helpful for sure too. And a few of our followers on Instagram are Scottish. So, I mean, if any of them are watching this, and I know we have some subscribers that are Scottish too, I'm sorry about what happened. Hopefully, moving deeper into the tournament. I mean, you guys still got Hungary and Switzerland, so there's still a possibility. Definitely don't throw away the towel. Just keep pushing. But I mean, regarding Germany, I mean, what is there to say? They're the hot team right now. They're on the hot seat and they're cooking. They're cooking and I mean, you're looking at the host. They have this pressure to win the tournament all in all, and to be the first host nation to win the Euros on home soil in like 40 years. So they have so much pressure upon them, and the way to just open up the match the way they did, it's honestly it's amazing to see.
Yeah, it was like a perfect home opener if you're a German fan or if you're a German. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's just everything from in every aspect of football that Germany played today. It was perfect. They defended well. I mean, save Rudiger's
own goal.
Own goal.
That's an accident, though.
Yeah, they defended very well. They were really poised, and even on the counter attack. Well, Germany's always like the fast build-up type of counter. Even if it's going through the middle, they're pretty quick with it. Like Kroos and Okay Gundogan link up was just something that Scotland was not ready for.
Mm-hmm. Well, those four, like now that you mentioned Kroos and Gundogan, those four in general, the midfield of Kroos, Gundogan, Musiala, and Wirtz. I mean, any other midfield, I don't think there's a better midfield than them right now. Kroos, yeah. I mean, he's retiring, and I'm sure. I mean, everybody knows that, so they're trying to give him the best send off possible. Gundogan is also in the peak of his career. Musiala and Florian Wirtz, they're just starting, but they're one of the best under 20 players in the world. And they proved that today, especially in those first opening 20 minutes. Each of them got a goal apiece, and I mean, it not just like the way they scored, but the technical ability and how they scored. I mean, Musiala had a thunderbolt of a shot, and the way he just almost ripped the net with his shot. And then same thing with Wirtz. I mean, it was kind of unlucky by the goalkeeper, but I mean, just the technical ability on these two at such a young age. I think Musiala was like 19 and Florian Wirtz is 20 or something like that. Yeah, I mean, but they're just so good. Honestly, like I don't even know what other words I can say for them. They're so good.
Yeah, I mean, Ancelotti still wants Kroos. Like he told him, like, I don't know how true it is, but he said that if he wants to renew his contract, the doors are wide open at Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that just tells you like the quality of player that he is. That the Champions League winning coach still wants him.
Yeah, I mean he's only 32, so he still has at least 3 more years if you really wanted to. But I mean he's completed football. He's won everything that he can.
Yeah, I mean he even won a World Cup. I mean he was on the bench, but he won.
Yeah, like, was he on the bench really when he won the World Cup? I thought he was starting because I remember he scored in the semifinal against Brazil. I think he was starting.
Was he
Because I
starting?
remember he scored against Brazil. I remember he scored against Brazil in that 7-1 in the semifinals.
It's because I remember he had recently made the move to Real Madrid when 2014 when he goes to Real Madrid.
Yeah, it was after that tournament.
So it was right after that tournament. Yeah, I don't
I
remember.
don't know if he was on the bench or not, but regardless, I mean, Cruz for the past 10 years probably one of the best, most consistent midfielders. The way he just dominates play, 2 touches, his diagonal balls, the way he pings the ball, it kind of reminds me of Xabi Alonso. The way he just is able to distribute a ball like easily, like nothing, over 60, 70 yards if you wanted to.
Oh, okay.
He's
So Cruz did start. He
he
did start.
started. Yeah, see, I
Yeah,
knew it.
thank
But I mean, his like talent was on display again today. In that first half, bro, 55 out of 55 passes completed. And then overall, throughout the whole 90 minutes and extra time of the game, you're looking at 101 passes out of 102 passes completed.
something
That's what, like 99% accuracy or something like that, right?
like
I'm not.
99.4% because it's like over 100. So it's
Mhm.
like it's a decimals. But yeah, it's something crazy, bro.
He said, dude, so I was looking on Twitter and he set the record as the highest pass completion rate by a player who's made over 100 passes in the Euro since the 80s. I don't know who that player was that completed that in the 80s, but I mean, you're looking at over 40 years of history. No one has ever done that in over 40 years, and Cruz just like nothing.
I mean, it's just I think I'd imagine it'd have to be so difficult, but it makes it look so simple.
Yeah, no, for sure. And let's talk about Scotland real quick. How the way they just crumbled after the first 20 minutes, they had no sense of reply. Like there was no, they couldn't get up. Basically, they got knocked out, and there was no coming back from it. Basically,
I just feel that I mean you definitely felt the frustration after the first 20 minutes where they go down 2-0, but prior to that, I mean Scotland they seemed a little nervous, yes, but I didn't expect this game to end 5-1 after seeing them play in the first 5 minutes.
hmm
But I mean, the clock just keeps going, and Germany just keeps getting more confident in being able to go forward, and they're not really able to stop those fast buildups that they're able to make through the midfield. I mean, we've seen the Florian Wirtz goal. It was really unfortunate save from the goalie.
hmm
He gets a whole hand on it, and it still hits the post, goes in. So it's quite unfortunate because I mean, I'm not a goalie trainer. I've never even played keeper, but I've seen like the coaches yell at the keepers, like maintain your hand firm and push the ball like forward and out
out.
wide, forward and out and hard. And it's just like kind of I think for them it's kind of like when you lift your leg up and the ball goes under, it's
hmm
probably like you just slept on it. Like you
Yeah,
could have
I'm
that.
sure that's kind of like symbolic too. As a defender, you're seeing your keeper commit such a big mistake on the first shot that Germany have on target. That leads to just a silly goal. Like your confidence, I'm sure, just goes down the drain.
Yeah, you're quite unfortunate. And then you see them like make one of the most beautiful plays I've seen probably in this year. Beginning from January to June, where it's just like a fast build between Cruz to Okay Gundogan. Okay Gundogan hits that through ball and it ends up in Musiala's finish.
Mm,
So you see those two fast goals, and if you're Scottish, you probably think, "Oh, this is over."
yeah,
We've seen that frustration play out in the way that I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the center back just goes cleats up with both legs on. Was it Gundogan's ankle?
it wasn't the Gundogan's like ankle shin. Yeah, that looked really bad. At
Yeah,
first, at first you couldn't really tell when you were watching the
yeah.
play in lifetime, but then
You
they
can
did the replay, go to VAR, and yeah, it looked horrible.
Yeah, I mean, at first it looks like he saves the ball, and then he kind of takes advantage. Later you see that he kind of takes advantage of that momentum and goes into his leg,
hmm
and which really is like why that red card rule is in place, to protect the integrity of the player. So it's quite unfortunate for Scotland, especially that, because I feel like if they went down 2-0, maybe they would have been like, we have nothing really to play for anymore. We're down. We're probably gonna lose by 1 to 2 more. So let's just, kind of put people behind the lines and try not to let any more goals through because you still have two more games coming up and you could win those and it could go down to a goal differential, which has gone down a lot of times in the Euros where
Hmm.
where teams advance because they receive less goals. But I mean, the 10-man team doesn't give you like even that opportunity anymore.
Yeah, that definitely hurt them. And I mean, like I said, they still have Hungary and Switzerland. Hungary and Switzerland do play tomorrow, so we'll see how that shapes up for them. I guess the best case scenario for Scotland is if they draw. So we'll see how that works out for Scotland. But now let's move into the whole of the tournament real quick. So I want to talk about our favorites, our dark horses, and our disappointments for this Euro. I know we did that for the Copa America in the last pod. So let's do that for here and let's really get this thing rolling for the Euro content because we got a lot of stuff, exciting stuff coming.
Yeah, I mean, you could go first with the dark horse one,
So
please.
for my dark horse, I put Austria. I was looking at the recent results. I know they beat Germany recently, and in their friendlies they've done pretty well too. And they're under Ralph Ragnick, they've done pretty well. I think they've been pretty surprising too, and a lot of people do have them as a dark horse. So I think with the way they've been playing, the results that they have, and the group that is somewhat accessible for them. I mean, they have France, and they have Netherlands, and I forgot who else is in their group, but they have a possibility to get out of the group. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna put them as a dark horse to at least get out of the group, and then I mean we'll see what they do in the latter stages of the tournament. But that's who I'll have as my dark horse. For my disappointment, I put Denmark. Denmark, I think there's been a lot of hype around them, especially after their last Euro run. I think they went to like semifinals. I
yeah,
don't know if that, I think that's when Christian Eriksen got like a heart problem in the fields, and they were playing like crazy for him.
yeah. I
So
remember that.
I think a lot of people have hyped them up and gave them a lot of, I mean, rightly so. They did well that tournament. I think that was 2020 Euros or maybe before. But now, especially given the last World Cup, I don't know. I don't. Denmark did pretty horrible the last World Cup, and they don't give me a lot of hope with this current squad of players that they can do anything really special. So I think they might get stuck, given a lot of people are expecting them to do a lot better. And I don't think so. And then my favorites, of course, Germany. Not only because of the game against Scotland today, but I mean they're the host nation, like I already explained earlier. So they have all that pressure, and I think they're going to thrive off of that pressure. They have just an exciting group of young players and a young, fresh manager like Julian Nagelsmann. And I saw that he's 36 years old, and Manuel Neuer is 38 years old. So I just thought that was really funny. But overall, I mean, they have a perfect blend of experience, of youth, and I think they're going to take advantage of that for sure. And I mean, given how they played today, I don't see how anybody can stop them. Maybe besides the likes of Portugal, France, possibly, but I think Germany's overall a better squad than those two teams.
Yeah, I mean, for my dark horse, the team that I think that a lot of people are writing off is Turkey because of their recent history. I don't think they've won a game in the past four games, but they did beat Germany a while back, and they also
Mm.
beat Germany and they beat Croatia. It was in 2023, which was like about almost a year from now, a year back. But I mean, they have Arda Güler, they have some promising players, and I definitely think that they're going to be able to advance, especially in the group that they're in,
Hmm.
where it's really just it's them, Georgia, Portugal, and Czechia, which I think is like Czechoslovakia,
Hmm. Czech Republic, no?
Czech Republic. Oh, sorry, yeah, Czech Republic, and I just think they're an accessible group. So I think they're going to be able to advance. Maybe they'll get knocked out of round of 16, but they will advance. I think so.
I think they can definitely advance to second. I mean, barring Portugal have a shocker or something, but yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. How about for disappointment?
My disappointment is Spain because not because they play bad or because they will play bad or I'm not predicting anything like that. I just feel like defensively Croatia and Italy are better than them and they attack not as well as them, but they attack well.
Mm.
Like they attack there's still solid attacks going forward. You have Chiesa who had a stellar tournament last time. And I just I'm not gonna say that I expect him to do the same, but I expect him to do something similar where maybe he doesn't have the same amount of goals, but let's say if you cut him at 50%, I feel like they'll be able to advance. And the group stage, and that's just my prediction. Especially them defending the title, it's gonna mean something more to them than it would probably mean for Spain.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's my prediction. And then with Croatia, I mean, Croatia has one of the best center backs in the world right now, which is Guardiola. And I mean, he's just a blessing for Croatia to have, because on those set pieces when he goes up, he's pretty lethal. Especially if you've seen Manchester City playing, you could see how lethal he is, especially with those mid range shots that he has every
Mhm.
once in a while. I mean, I just have them advancing because Spain lacks these type of competitions. You know, they haven't been able to do well in these types of competitions in these past Euros, or even in the World Cup. They weren't able to do as well as people thought they would. So
Yeah.
I just think they have pretty much the same team with two or three players that were added, and those two or three players not being really veterans. They're new youngsters as well.
Yeah, they're gonna need some time to adapt for sure. I know what you're talking about for like the likes of Yamal, for example. I
Yeah,
mean, great, exciting young players, but they are very young, and it's gonna be unfair to put so much pressure on them, especially in
yeah.
such an important tournament.
If you're Spanish, it's a process. You gotta realize it's a process. You know, these players will be ready for the 26 World Cup probably, hopefully, and then for the Euros, and probably I think it's like 2028 maybe.
Hmm.
So it's just, be patient with these players. Obviously, they're doing their best. Nobody wants to let their nation down. It's just stuff that happens sometimes. You're just
Yeah.
lacking experience. More experience beats lack of experience. So,
Well,
but for
honestly, I don't disagree with that take. I think Spain are very much probable on track to be a disappointment.
yeah, and it's not even because they're bad. It's just the group that they were given.
Mm,
Like if they were in Turkey's group, I'd put them over Turkey advancing. But it's just Group B is so, it just looks so tough.
for sure.
My favorites would be Germany, because obviously being the host nation, you play home everywhere, so your fans are out there, and you've seen the German fans. I mean, they're crazy.
They're passionate as fuck. Yeah.
They're really, and then they're creative with their celebrations, their chants, and like and everything. I mean, their banners are insane. So, but going onto the field, I mean, you saw the the performance that they put on versus Scotland. It was something out of a dream, probably to open up like this for Germany was probably the most ideal way ever.
Yeah,
With
for sure.
solid defense. You look at this midfield with Kroos and Okay Gundogan, which we mentioned prior, but it's like this is for real. Like you have a, a midfielder who won the Champions League last year, and then a midfielder who just won the Champions League, and then you have a center forward who was the runner up for a Champions League. So like you have all these quality players in Europe who have made it so deep in the hardest tournament at the club level. So it's just you practically have the best team in the world if you're speaking from a European perspective.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. Come with me. I have the same favorites, obviously. So Germany. They have everything in their hands to be champions. So it's all on them. And if they don't win, it would be considered a failure. Honestly.
Yeah, because you have the best, for me, the best team in the world right now, especially, or at least at the moment,
Mm,
and which is really what the Euros is about. Because we saw what happened to Italy. They were the best in the moment, and then they kind of declined a little bit. Which I feel like Germany right now is the best in the moment because of what they've suffered right now in these past times. And obviously, Cruz being experienced, Okay Gundogan being experienced, and then you have Yamal and Florian Wirtz with that mixture of youth, being able to run more, being able to track back a lot more than these older players can. I mean, it just gives you that solidarity.
for sure.
So I think
Now,
they're clearly their favorites.
now tracking back a little bit on what you were saying that the Spain, not was it Spain? Yeah, the Spain, Italy, and Croatia group along with Albania. Do you think that was the group of death? I know every tournament always has to have that group of death, so I think we should definitely try to find that one. And I would agree that I mean with myself saying what I said that that is the group of death, that group B with Italy, Croatia, Spain, and Albania. Just wanted to see if you're on the same boat, if that's the group of death or not.
I think for sure that's the group of death because you have three teams who are world class. I mean, Spain won the Nations League. Italy's the defending Euro
Champion, yeah.
champion. I mean, we have a Croatia team who won the past two World Cups. Fucking They made it to one final, and they got third place in another competition, and they've just been, I mean, so not constant, consistent with these
Mm-hmm.
appearances in the World Cups, and I just think that makes it the hardest group. They're the group with the with the most recent best reputation because Italy won the Euros, like I just said, and Spain. I mean, they're the up and coming youngsters that everybody's maybe not rooting for, but you're definitely like interested in what's going to happen with Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Italy's the reigning champion, so it's
Do you think there's any hope for Albania then?
no.
Sounds all straightforward, but I'm agree with you too on that. I feel like this podcast there's been a lot of agreement for once. I feel like sometimes we'll argue a little bit, but I agree with that with our takes today.
It's not even that Albania is bad. They're a pretty good team. You know, they have their results. You know, they beat well, they didn't beat, but they gave Sweden a game. They're able to give these decent teams games. You know, they barely lost to Poland. I think it was a few years back,
Mm.
but they're not a bad team. They're just not world class.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to be a threat to these world class talents and teams.
They're a decent side who gives you, you know, a little bit of struggle in the beginning of the game, but then you tend to figure them out, or you tend to be able to just to figure it out for like Italy, Croatia,
Or Spain.
or Spain. And what I will say is this though: Albania can decide who advances though, because if Spain's about to advance and Italy's winning, and they rely on Italy. I mean, well, then practically it's in Albania's hands if it's in Italy, Albania, you know, end of the match there, you know, whatever scenario, they can decide it.
Do you think maybe because he had disappointment somewhere in there then, like with you with Spain,
Albania,
obviously?
if Albania wins a game, there's gonna be a disappointment. I mean, it's just that let's say if Albania was able to be, I don't know, maybe in the opening day, you know, opening day nerves, they beat Italy. They've really just set themselves up
To succeed.
to succeed. I mean, they tied 2 games and they're in. That's it. They got 5 points. They're probably going to defend with their lives the rest of those 2 games. And I mean, if Albania's going to advance, Italy's going to be scrapping versus Croatia, scrapping versus Spain to get the
Mhm.
most goals that they can. And I mean, it'd be exciting if Albania were to beat Italy in the opening day, which is the most probable because we saw it happen to Argentina. If a team loses, it's probably the opening game. Like if a world class team were to lose, it's probably the opening game.
Yeah.
That's when the come in. Like Argentina did with Saudi Arabia. You know, we've seen this all the time. Like in 2018 when Germany lost to Mexico, it was
Mhm.
an opening game. So it's just something that happens in football. So I wouldn't doubt it, but it also like repaint this whole diagram that I just read out with Spain being the disappointment.
Mhm. I completely agree. Well, that kind of wraps up everything for the Euros, at least highlighting our favorites and looking forward into the rest of the tournament. Make sure you guys check out, our social media platforms, especially our Instagram. We're truly trying to grow on there first before anything. So make sure to look there as we'll be constantly posting all kinds of things Euro and Copa America related. Make sure to pay attention to the pods because we will be posting pretty consistently. Right now, we're looking at Mondays and Fridays to be posting since it is a little unrealistic to post every day or every other day because I mean, we all have our own lives. This isn't making any money just yet, but that's the goal. But thank you, Tomas, always for hopping on and for helping out. Um, yeah, make sure you guys follow our socials. Like I said, they're plugged in right here. We're gonna still work on this template so we can make it look as official and proper for you guys and for ourselves as well. And then yeah, just keep following along on this journey. Make sure to support us, your small creators, because I mean together we can make it big and who knows, maybe we can make it to that 2026 World Cup. That's the plan. That's the idea. And I'm gonna keep saying that till we're there. So yeah, and thank you, Tomas. Anything else you want to say to the people that are listening?
Nothing, just keep watching, keep supporting. Got some projects coming up.
Yeah, make sure to check out and turn on your notifications, subscribe, all that good stuff. So we'll see you guys on the next one for the next few match days.